Hey guys, Doug here again. It's a hot one. We're under a heat advisory. It's only about 8:30 in the morning and the sun's coming up and it's getting warm, but we're under a heat advisory in southern Ontario today, and half of the north is on fire, so it's a strange summer, but what better time than to think of Christmas and Santa. Last year I did a carving and coffee episode with Christmas in July, and that was with it was Mike Shipley's Old World Santa. So this year we're going to tackle, and forgive me if I say his last name wrong, but I want to say Bob Kovakowicz, or Kovakowicz? Yeah, Bob K is what we're going to call him. And last year he had a article published in Woodcarving Illustrated, and it was just the simple Santa, and it's a great little project. And I'm gonna try and look that up. I'll put a link in the description, so it gives you the instructions, dimensions, everything you need. And like basically today is just gonna be like a carve along, and we're gonna tackle Bob's little project here. I love these little projects. This is right along the lines of Tom Hines' face that we did a while ago, and I don't know how they do it, but I always say, like, simplicity is the other side of complexity. Bob is a carver of like 45 years. I follow him on Instagram as Carver Bob K, and he does fantastic work. But it's those guys that can make such a simple plan, because they know exactly what they can remove and keep it simple for us newbies. And yeah, fun little project. So let's just do a little carve along. I'm just gonna wing it, half from memory, and so it may not be exactly the same as the article, but it'll be close. So simple Santa, that's what we're gonna do. Now we need a piece of basswood, 1 by 1 by 6, okay? And the knife I'm going to use is just the I guess the 1 3/8 Mike Shipley OCC Tools knife, since I'm going to be asked basswood OCC Tools. And let's just get cracking and jump into it. I've got this new camera here. I'm trying to learn how to keep it focused on things in the different settings, so forgive me if you might get a little bit of blur or zoom in and out or unfocused, but I'm learning. Can only get better. So we're just going to go ahead and take our piece of wood here, and I think we'll just start roughly 1 1/4 inches from the top. Actually, let me change the tripods. I'll get you right down to this level. Let's just start down here at 1 1/4 inches, and we'll go another 1/2 inch below that, and then we'll take that 1/2 inch basically across, and we'll come down again like that. So basically we've got this angle, okay? And do the same thing on this side. Just kind of roughly draw that. See how that is? Alright. Then we're going to have like a nose here. And probably, I could say that nose is a 1/2 inch down. And then we're going to come down about another 3/4 of an inch or so. Alright. And then we're going to I'll come down about 3/4 from this line. About there. Maybe we'll lower this one a little bit. Anyway, we're just going to come down like that, both ways. Alright. And we're going to give that a 1/2 inch. And then roughly a 1/2 inch on the sides here. So that's rough. Like I said, all the dimensions will be on the Bob's diagram. But we'll just start carving away. What we got to do is we got to get rid of these corners as we go. So I'm just going to start just to mark all these lines before I lose them. All right. And that's a point, but that really doesn't have to be a point. We're just going to take that off flat. Okay. If this is your first video of mine, you got lots of questions and cuts and materials and stuff. I do have a introduction to wood carving video that maybe some have found helpful. Saves me answering a lot of questions. I made the video for that reason. Alright, so that's what we got here, just to highlight the lines. And now we're just going to go take all those hat lines and we're just going to make a stop cut and cut down to them. Now those these stop cuts are a bit of an angle, if you can see that. You don't really need them to go straight in. Right? This side. I do a lot of push cuts when I carve. Seems to be a lot safer for me anyway. Okay. And now we can just start working on that hat. We can take all these edges off all the way around. A little hard spot there. You don't have to take off too much at a time. Am I wiggling the camera? Mic around. Sound should be better that way. Okay, so we're just kind of rough shaping the hat, and we'll come back down to that cut line. But before we get too far, let's go around to the back. Basically, we're just going to continue that angle around, okay? So again, it's probably a ½ inch lower than the side cut again, right? See how that kind of comes around? I'm going to take the all those points can go right off the bat. We don't want sharp edges. We want to round all these edges and recut those stop cuts and work down to them again. Just kind of rounded the top a little bit. Okay, that's the idea. Now let's just let's go down to the arms here. This is the bottom of the arms. Same idea as the top. Just going to make that little bit of an angled stop cut there. Work up to it. Same on this side. And this is rough. We're going to clean it all up proper. Just trying to get the basic outline, okay? That's that. Now let's go to the bottom brim of the hat. And just same idea. We'll make those stop cuts all the way around. And then we'll work our way up to them. We'll have to redo some of those lines again. But that's fine. Okay, that's our fluff of our hat, and again we're going to take that line, we're going to carry that around as well. We can round that off before we even start, and we can just continuing like a ½ inch band around. rounding everything as we go. Try to get rid of all those sharp corners. Okay. Okay, so let's bring these shoulders in a little bit under the hat. Just kind of rounding that in. I've made the mistake on earlier ones, here let me show you in 1 second, of bringing those shoulders up too high because I don't follow instructions well and I just go ahead and do things. But we want to bring those shoulders in under the hat so it doesn't look like one of these guys. See how his shoulders are coming up too high? We want to bring them, where am I? See how his shoulders are too high? We want to bring those shoulders in under the hat. Okay, and we're going to make that beard a little bit bigger than these. I made that mistake twice on these guys. When I look at it after, I thought, oh, that doesn't make sense. So we're just going to kind of round this off, round, and that way we're going to get a bigger, larger beard, and we're not going to have the shoulders coming up too high that look abnormal. Alright? Okay. So there's the, remember that, let's redraw this. About a ½ an inch down. Just kind of make a nose. Alright? I'll just start hacking at that. Just kind of little cuts just to make it round. Work your way around it. And we can take a little money chip out of there. Okay, now we got a pointy nose, which we don't want, so we're just going to round that nose and work up into it again, just to kind of get it to stick out a little bit more. There. We can always deepen it with that 3-way chip cut. Somebody told me a story about Jack Price saying he calls it the $50 cut. It was in one of the comments on a video. It says the $50 cut because he took a wood carving class and cost him $50, and that's all he learned in the whole thing, is that little 3/4 cut there. So I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do because I'm a simple man. But anyway, just gonna bring that nose back in, and we'll come back to it and round it a little better after. But we're still just doing the rough shape and outline. Okay. All right. So here's the another pointed spot here, so we can round this up. We'll just take the first cut here. Come across a little bit. All right. These are going to be his hands, folded over each other. In here. And then we'll take one little cut here. Same one on this side. This is a bit of an angle, so you can come into it like this. See that? Alright, see how I'm making the beard bigger than this guy? I'm bringing that out a little bit on an angle so that the shoulders are there, but they're more proportionate. Okay. Same on this side. Just a little bit extra. There. That's a lot better already. I like that beard coming right up there. Alright, so let's round that over. Clean up all these cuts. Come back. Round that beard a little bit into there. We'll give that arm that little fold cut there. Okay, same on the sides, just kind of clean that up. Take a little notch out of there, just to give that arm fold. There. So, see what I mean about that beard? See how I kind of kept that beard inside the shoulders? I think I like it better coming out on a bit of an angle, so the beard takes up much more space and the shoulders aren't up beside the ears, which is ridiculous, right? So. Okay, and we'll just keep working our way around, keeping that beard nice and round. Okay, that's where we are. How's my focus doing? There we go. I hope it's not jumping back and forth. I gotta learn a lot about this camera. I'm a simple man, and technology is not my strong suit. Let's just work this hat up to a point, like big chunks. Okay, well, we got that fairly pointed. So when I get that higher, so I'll just come down about 1/2 inch and make that little pom-pom just by going back and forth like that. And we'll do the same thing on the very top. It's hard for me to watch the monitor at the same time, but I think my hands are taking the focus all the time. Let me try and figure something out. Well, there you go. I got on tracking, so hopefully that stays in focus for you. That's where we are. We're just working our way on this, trying to create the little pom-pom on top by making cuts all the way around. And once we got the bottom, cut like that, then we'll just work our way up to it. And that will thin the hat out some more and give us a little stopper. A little swooping action on from the base of the hat up. And we'll just go around and clean up that cut. And do the same thing on the very top. Just knock off all the corners. And keep playing with it till it looks like a pom-pom. Is it a pom-pom or just a ball? Anyway, something like that. Alright. Okay, let's move on back down to the arms here. Now the arms, I'm going to have these little hands that are going to be folded over. We're just going to draw 2 lines like that, just to we're just going to separate the hands from the arms. Just going to do a straight cut each way and then just cut into them. Right. Alright, we just separated the hands and the arms. Maybe we'll just do that little 3-corner cut on the top here a little bit. Give it some depth. Right. We'll just round that off. Work that beard down. There, something like that. Alright, let's change positions. So we've got our hands separated from our arms. We've got our beard wider than the other fella. And we got our pom-pom on top. But what we didn't do is clean up this little, a little bit of a rough edge where we made those stop cuts. So we're just going to take our knife underneath there. Just kind of roll it up a little bit if we can. Take away that little flat spot at the top of the band, the hat band there. Just rolling the knife a little bit. And where you, once in a while you might have to do a little extra cut, but and we're always keeping everything round. So if we see any little sharp edges or that doesn't look right, then we just take them off too. Right, same as the bottom of the hat here. Alright. I think our hat's just about done there. Alright. Arms are done, hat's done. Let's before we do the mouth, let's just go down here. Let's round all these corners underneath. He's kind of wearing a gown, so we want a bit of a flow. Taking too much off and chipping. Remember when you take, I'm going the wrong way just to get the bulk, but when you go the wrong way and it splits like this, you can see that in the light, little tears, just turn it around and you can go the opposite way, or you can do those more of a slicing cut, and that way you won't get those tears. All right. And there's an airplane. Alright, now work our way up under the arms. Deepen that cut there. Around the side, see the side here? Just gonna deepen that a little bit so I can bring that, give it more of an elbow. same on this side. A little bit deeper. We're getting there. Look at this round. Round, round, round. Couple little knots in this one. So that's the rough of the front. Okay. And then we're going to go in the back. We got a big pointy back. So we're just going to round that edge off of there too. Right up under the hat. And back down the bottom. We're just going to work our way right around, kind of making it, give it a nice shape. Alright. A little bit of a flow there. Fairly even on both sides. Alright, moving back up to the beard. I'm going to flatten that out a little bit. Alright, let's draw a little mouth on him. I'm going to stay a little bit high. Make him a happy Santa. And a little kick for the show a bit of a mustache. You see that? Just going to stick my knife in there. Go from one side. Do the same thing from the other side. I've learned since to not try and do it all in one cut anymore. I like to go from both sides. Put the little stopper on the edge of the mouth here and just carve up into it just a little bit. We don't want this too deep. Okay. Rounding again. That's basically all you need. You see that? Good. Alright, so on I think it's Bob's. We've got this little gown part here. See how I got different color in there, so his little robe is kind of split here. You can do that. What else have I done here? I've done nothing also, and just left put some little cuts in there to show some wrinkles and flow. Or I've just done the straight old style. This kind of curves off and this one comes into it. But for this video, let's stick with this idea here and just do the little V here with a 1/2 inch 3/8 on each side of the fur. Alright, let's just draw these lines on here. We'll start there. Just kind of like that. Just run my knife down, a bit of an angle this way. Kind of kick it out at the bottom. Same on this side. Bit of an angle. And then I'll kick it out there. Alright. I'll just run my knife up to that line. That piece out. That. Same thing on this side. There we go. I'll just feather this edge back. And clean up the center. Well, we can do it when we do this kind of cut here. This gives it a bit of depth on that bottom. Alright. Alright, that's the center portion. Now for the edges here, just think it's going to match whatever we use on the hat. So let's just go about 3/8 around like that. Alright, I'll just do the same thing. Go the other way. Cut in from one way and the other way. Pop that out. There, take the edges off. Okay, we've given it a bit of fur on the edge of his robe. Yeah. And again on this side. Run that around. Got the edges. There we go. So that's basically done. Now we can deepen up some of these cuts, give them a little bit more depth to them. Around the nose here. Now we'll just go around and knock off all the flat spots that we see. Little swoopy cut. I'm not going to. You could take a gouge and you could really dig out these little fur pieces, but for this one we're just gonna kind of give a little twist to the knife and just make little divots to make that fur look. All right. You're always just looking at it, looking it over, fine-tuning it, cleaning up little edges, and get a little bit more depth here and there. But for all intensive purposes, we're pretty much done Bob's Santa. I hope I did it justice. That's pretty much it. So there's our simple Santa. Now I brought a V-tool out here. This is just the flex cut. I guess it's probably a good 1/8 of an inch. So we can give a little bit of a detail in the, not too much, but a little bit of detail in the mustache. Some little V cuts around to show the whiskers. You can do these same cuts with your knife just by doing little V cuts too. You don't need a V tool. Just makes it easier. It's a trade-off really, because you can do from a V tool to a knife. A knife will give you more depth, and you can do some real, well, let's just do one here. Well, if I do one, I'm going to do more than that. But you can take your knife and really get in and do some real sharper detail whiskers. See how I just pull that little, see how that gets in there? It gives you some real depth. Come on. So I'll do one on this side too. So a V-tool is a lot more shallow, and these you can get some real good shadowing. Alright, so now I'm going to have to go around and do a few more, but it just gives you some different layers. I will do a few more of these, and then I will wet it, and we'll come back and have a look before paint. All right. Well, here's our guy, all carved up. People have asked me why I wet the carving, and that's an old trick I got from Gene Messer. And basically, it just highlights all the cuts in the shadows, so you can really see the carving. So there he is. I think in this case, this is the best one I've done, because I like the beard. I showed you before that I wasn't happy with the way that I did the beard before. I didn't get it wide enough, so I think I remedied it on this one. And yeah, so just for the sake of comparison, let's paint this one pretty much the same as this one, and then you can see the differences. Alright, so I'll go get my paint stuff and get set up, and we'll do a real quick paint, show the finished product. Alright, we've got a little bit of water here, got my carving, got my brushes. I keep getting asked what kind of brushes they are, and I don't see any real names on them, but I just picked these up at Michael's craft shop, and I really like them because they have a nice, they just kind of feel like a pencil, or a real nice contour for painting, so I like them. So let's just get cracking here with some paint. We'll do the only real skin tone is the nose, so I like to do the skin as solid color, not wetted down at all, which I'll show you after. I hope that I hope this video turns out okay. Like I said, I'm learning a new camera, and I am technologically challenged. I'm used to a hammer and a saw and not all this fancy equipment, but not too old to learn. So there we've got the nose color done, and maybe we'll give a little dab of red washed in after. But that's all there is for skin color, is the nose. So we're going to put the white on solid as well. I forgot. I'm going to antique it, so I want to keep it solid color without wetting it down. I started implementing the wetting down the colors, as makes it more like a stain, and I've been really pleased with the results. So I think that's something I'll adapt for just about everything in the future. The beauty of when you antique, you don't necessarily have to get as perfect, like tight into these little areas, because that dark antiquing will fill in some of those little lines that you're afraid to get too tight to. I won't belabor every color here. We'll just kind of introduce them, and then I'll carry on with them. Here's our white beard done. Now I'm going to switch over to a beige, desert sand they call this. And I'm going to do the all the trim. I'm going to do the hat band, the pom-pom, and the edges of the robe. And that'll be it for light colors that I like to do first, and then do the darker colors infill. Now I'm pretty sure I said when I started the nose that the flesh color was the only one I was doing solid, but that's just ridiculous. I do most of the light colors I'll do solid, and then the darker ones I'll wet down so that they soak in like a stain. So I'll just do all the trim with this beige, and then we'll come back again. So just it's a real light beige color there. We've got all the trim done. I'm just going to take a little bit of brown and do the mitts here. Add a little bit of water to that. Get a little bit. Alright. Here's my doves. I love listening to the mourning doves. Let's move on to some fun colors. What I'm going to do is I'm just dipping my paintbrush in the red. I'm just touching the water, and then I'm just going to brush it on, and it really is real nice. It's like a stain. There's no real coat. It just kind of sinks right in. I really like this look. Actually, it flows into the cracks beautifully too. having that extra little bit of water. I know you won't be able to see that very good, but you see how the paint just soaks right in. It's almost like a stain. Love it. Okay, I'm going to finish up the red and then we'll go to the green. Alright, here is our red all done. Time to move into a green. So same steps again. Just going to take my brush, dip it in the paint, and dip it in the water. Paint her on. And let her soak right in. That's not the same green I used before. It's a little bit lighter. Alright, wasn't so bad. I think, yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Make it a little bit darker. I don't like that. Doesn't stand out enough. And this is when Doug destroyed his painting, his carving. There. Kind of blending the two colors now. Don't really even need water. It's wet. There, that stands out a lot more. It was too close to the beige. There's a Hurley. There he is. The green's all painted up. We're going to let this dry just for a couple minutes and then we'll let that Harley go by. Wow. Okay, there he is. Got the green all done. Gonna let him dry for just a minute and then we'll do some antiquing and we're done. Alright, I will be back. So that's Santa's all dry, and coincidentally enough, while I was walking up to the house to kill some time, Joe called and I got a lesson in f-stop on the camera, which gives me a bigger focus. So hopefully we got this straightened out, and again hopefully I can edit out some of that crazy searching that I had going on. So I am learning. So we're going to use this antiquing medium, just made by Folk Art, and all we do with that is just cover the whole thing. It's very painful the first time you do it to see your work go like this, but the end result is worthwhile. This antiquing solution too, they don't always carry it with all the Folk Art paints. You kind of hunt around I've had to go to Port Huron a couple times because I couldn't find it in Ontario. Of course, I suppose you could get it mailed to you, but we're just gonna get it in all the cracks. That's just about it. Alright, I'm going to take a nice clean rag and wipe her all down. When I do a regular character like this, I usually wait until after this step before I finish paint the eyes on, because you don't really ever get the eyes back the way that you like them. So to get that life back in the eyes, I usually wait and do that after the antiquing part. But that's all there is to it. A little bit on here. And again, we'll let them dry, and we'll come back and wrap up this video. Bob's Simple Sampa. Bob's Simple Santa. There we got our little Santa all done up. I put a real light, basically a cutting board paste wax on him, and yeah, he looks good. I'm real happy that I got the beard right. Instead of the shoulders coming up too high, I got the beard widened out so the shoulders aren't up into the hat. So I'm learning. But big thanks to Bob for making that tutorial. And let's not ever forget to give credit where credit's due. And same with Tom Hines Wizard. I saw some guy saying thanks to Doug Outside, but it's Tom's pattern. I don't ever want to steal from those guys. They're the brains behind it. I'm just kind of getting you going and maybe a little bit inspired to give it a try. So thanks to Bob for that. And Woodcarving Illustrated, go check them out. They have lots of information on their website. They've got their print magazine, and they have a forum that you can go on and ask questions, and lots of real talented carvers on there that can answer most of your questions too. So don't, I can only take you so far. Those guys can take you way farther. So check it out, and I hope you like the Simple Santa. I should mention another thing, like you can cut the bottom of the robe off, give a little round bottom like that, put a string through his head, and you got some Christmas ornaments for your tree. And yeah, just experiment with them. Like this guy here has a mustache, and I left some cheeks on him. You know, the robe, single, nothing, open, two colors, you know. Again, it's the concept. Once you get on to it, you can customize it to make whatever you want. So I hope you like this little project, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.